Hello, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to our Dungeon Crawler Carl read-along. This week, we are starting on chapter 29 and going through chapter 37. I actually realized maybe it's chapter 36, but you'll know from the title and the thumbnail and all the things. We're starting in chapter 29 is all I know for sure. So I will be back after I finish reading chapter 29. Okay, so we got to know the real Odette, or at least we got to see who the real Odette is in this. Also, remember in the last chapter where Lexis was telling them about the Warrant Corporation and she said she started to say MU and then caught herself and stopped. Apparently, it's because their nicknames are mud skippers and they do not like it. And they even got or tried to get the syndicate or tried to get them to consider it to be hate speech, calling mud skippers. So the Warrant Corporation does not like that. But anyway, Odette gave them a little bit more background about kind of how things will work going forward. And she apparently trained Mordecai, which I thought was pretty cool. She gave them a little bit more information about the loot boxes. Like she said, if you want pants, stop complaining about not having pants, and also stop hissing every time you get torches and donuts. And I have 230 torches in my inventory. It's hilarious. So, anyway, they're officially done. We're moving on to chapter 30. Chapter 30 picture in the book is of like a squid jellyfish, not a squid, a jellyfish looking thing. I don't know. Dungeon floor 2, views 0, followers 0, favorites 0. So apparently they're about to get to see their numbers and what's going to happen. And Odette already told them their numbers are about to skyrocket because they've been on the show. So we will watch that number and see how it goes. I'll see y'all after chapter 30. Okay. Chapter 30 was entering the second floor. They immediately saw stairs down to the third floor. So what is this going to be? I know when I first started this series, I thought that each book was one level of the dungeon, but here we are halfway through the first book and we're already on level 2. And honestly, I don't remember. I know I've read this. I've read this book. I've read the first 6 books. Yes, I only have 7 and 8 to go. So I've read the first 6 books and I still don't know how many levels they go in this book. So I did know that they went past level 1, but I have no idea. But anyway, so on this floor, they meet what are they called? Brindle grubs, which are the same thing as the rats on the previous level, meaning that they are not part of the region. So if it's divided the same way the other one was, there was like a region that had just these type of monsters in it. There was another region that had another type of monsters. And so if it's the same way, the grubs can kind of go through all of the areas. The special thing about them is they consume things and get bigger and bigger, like the very hungry caterpillar. And then they go into a pupa stage, I'm guessing, and eventually they do the whole cocoon and something else emerges. And it said, you don't want to know what these become. So I still think the things that they get and the achievements that they do are so creatively thought out to me. I would not be able to think of these things. So I always think that's such a creative thing to say. You get battlefield construction because you built a structure and deployed it in a battle. And then you get a bully and a thief. You've stolen property from a fellow crawler who was a lower level than you, which is funny when he took Agatha's shopping cart. So that was funny. Oh, we did get to see Agatha clearly killed one of the grubs as she was going through or something. But he got some tools that he can't use yet. I do like that there are foreshadowing of things that's going to come. You can use this when you have a workbench, but he can't use a workbench until he has a personal space, and he can't have a personal space till he gets to dungeon level 4. So I do like that. I like that we're getting to see what's coming up in the future. So this one was pretty much just finding a safe place where they could get in and look at all their stuff. And Donut got a new spell, which immediately she read it because she's ridiculous. And this one is called Second Chance, and she can raise a monster from the dead that is a lower level than her and then fight for as many minutes as the spell's level. And right now the spell is level 1. So that's going to be cool. But she was like, the dead are gross. And he said, well, you could raise one of the dingoes and they could fight another dingo. And she said, this is the best spell. So, chapter 31. Oh, I know what I was going to say. In chapter 29, they gave something to Donut, put something in her treat to like mellow her out for the interview. And not just mellow her out, it increases her intelligence and her concentration. And one of the things that Odette said is she's like a child. And so I think that's what we were seeing earlier, where the actions that she does, she doesn't think through what the consequences are going to be, much like children do when they're first learning about the world around them and who they are in it and all of those things. Everything is just about them and how it affects them. Some people stay like that their whole lives. But I think that maybe we're going to get to see, especially since they're specifically mentioning it right now, I hope we're going to get to see this evolve as we go along with her. Okay, chapter 31. Chapter 30 is done. No, chapter 31 is what I just did. And they met back up with the Meadowlark team, and Brandon said that they're just taking them straight over to the third stairwell and they're all going to go down. He said it was the easiest way to keep them from getting separated. So we did get to meet Elle McGibbons. She's the one that I named the prompt on my game. I named it after her because she's 99 years old. And so I have to read the 99th book on my TBR, really on my 50 before 50, but I'm below 99 now. So I'll have to read on my TBR. But anyway, that's fine. Elle was in a wheelchair. Carl pushed her into the storm shelter and she asked him to turn on Divorce Court on the TV. So we got to see what everybody got. When he was talking about going down to the next floor, Brandon said that he didn't want to be separated. But what else did he say? At least we know where the stairs are. Here's what we got. Oh, I got a magic boomerang. Chris got some book of the club thing. That might be the same thing that Donut has, because Donut got a book where she gets, in each level, she gets a new spell. That's where she got that second chance spell. So not sure. And Monty doesn't tell us what she gets. And Yolanda got a new type of quiver. So then he said, there's something I've been wanting to ask you about Agatha. And then they got interrupted because the show was on. And they actually made it on the program for the first time. And Donut is very excited about it. And then they opened up the actual, followers can follow you and the way the sub boxes are going to work and all that stuff. And then Donut has a follower. I love it. This is how I was when I first started my YouTube channel. Thank goodness there was no camera on me that people could see, because Donut goes, I have a follower, my first follower, another, a view, I have a view. And Carl said, that viewer is watching you right now. So maybe stop acting crazy. Hilarious. And so Donut was like, oh yeah, that battle was quite the battle today, don't you think, Carl? All of a sudden she gets all proper. He's like, this is going to be a long night. So when we go to chapter 32, also, I didn't see any squid-like things in those two chapters, even though we had a picture of it. So that's weird, but that's all right. Into chapter 32, we do have a picture. Time to collapse, 5 days, 10 hours. It's got all their stats right here. So views, 69 billion. Followers, 636 million. Favorite, 149 million. So things have happened over the last 12 hours. How long have they been here? It was 6 days to collapse, and now it's 5 days and 10 hours. So 14 hours. A lot of views and followers and favorites have happened. So I will see y'all back here after chapter 32. Okay, I just finished chapter 32, and I love that Carl created his own device. Is that what they call it? Well, an incendiary tossable is what he has created. I love it. Carl's Jug-O-Boom. Funny. Donut's like, they named it after you. Will everyone see that? I think she's thinking about what it's going to look like on the show. I don't know. But I like that we get to see them in this, initially discovering what this floor is going to be like and what the things are in relation to how they were on the first floor, but then also how they're going to use them to gain whatever they need to gain. And so moving forward, I like it that she's trying out her new spell where she brings something back from the dead, and then he randomly found a slingshot and he's like, hey, I need a ranged weapon. Let me practice with this slingshot. And so he's getting better and better. They're just like doing little mini training things as they're also moving forward. So I like that. But now they have gotten in here and they found Laminac Rev Up Consultant Elites level 6, and there are 2 of them. But they are winged. So I'm wondering, because Donut said that her charisma thing works better on winged fairies, but then they're going to get 20% more damage on Carl because of his goblin affiliation. So we're going to find out what happens because Carl apparently has a plan. I'm guessing it's going to involve burning everything to the ground with that stuff that he has just created. His Juggo Boom. Anyway. On to chapter 33. Oh, it does have a picture of Carl's Juggo Boom on there. So maybe I was right. Let's see what happens in chapter 33. Chapter 33 is done, and we learned a couple of things. Well, first of all, they were pretty much just looting after they killed the fairies. And I think they were trying to preserve their bodies because it said their essence could be used as something. And anyway, so he's got their bodies in his inventory. And when they came in, they left their clothes. So he grabbed their clothes too. So all of that is now in there. And then we learned about a blender, bicycle powered blender, which is hilarious. But the big thing is now here at the end, he got a Rev Up immunity smoothie recipe and didn't say what's in it. We just know that it's gross, but it only has 2 items and it's gross. So he said, this is all a game setup where you're supposed to find this and make the recipe. If you make the smoothie, you'll have immunity from the taint debuff and something called the vigorous measles. And then you'll have the proper protection to fight the boss. Then he says, it's really gross though, and I don't want to go in there. So why don't we not fight the boss is what he was going to say. However, the boss came to them and it says new achievement. Wait, bosses can leave the floor, their rooms. Welcome to the 2nd floor. So here we go. It's some kind of very weird looking octopus. Each octopus-like tentacle is covered with mouths, human-shaped with bright red human lips, and they're all screaming. So here we go. Boss battle. Oh, wow. I see already at the top of chapter 24, level 10 neighborhood boss. What in the world? Okay, here we go. Chapter 34. Chapter 34 was really short. We didn't even get through the whole boss fight. I mean, I don't think we did anyway, but he made that smoothie. That was so disgusting. So disgusting. And now Carl thinks he's going to die, and he told her to go to Brandon and they would take care of her. And she said, I love you, not as much as I love Miss Beatrice. Or, oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Ferdinand. His name is Ferdinand. But again, they were able to use Donut's thing, her spell again, to get a zombie to work for them and go do what they wanted the zombie to do. So I like that. I like that we're learning new things and then they're being able to implement them in. So that's going to be fun to like watch as we go through. But I like that he was poisoned with the vigorous measles and then immediately it was negated. So anyway, I couldn't answer her before the explosion came. So here we go. Chapter 35. I'm already getting excited about Zev in the next chapter, but okay, no, this chapter. So he got his enchanted big boy boxers. I love it. I love it. I love also that he just said, don't look, and then immediately changed his boxers, which means the cameras were on him and people could be watching. Like just because he said, don't look, doesn't mean people were not looking. Anyway, he found out a few things. Mordecai cannot tell him about the crack Aaron because apparently they're going to be meeting another one of those. Also couldn't tell him about the Desperado Club, but is really upset with Odette and does not like her, does not want any of that. So anyway, Carl survived. Donut dragged him out, gave him the potion. So he got back, which we kind of knew he would, right? So that's it. Oh, Damien. We did find out that Damien is a location manager. Each city area has one. There's only 3 for the second floor. He's my manager's manager. You're not supposed to know about him, but since you did ask, I can tell you. And then you may not wield your weapons while in the presence of admins. Any attempted violence against an admin will result in your immediate execution. They are not playing. Donut immediately jumped on my shoulder. There was a loud pop, and a new creature appeared in the room, standing in a puddle right in front of me. A Kuatin. Kuatin? I don't know, but I've already forgotten what these are. I know they're part of the Borant Corporation, or I guess they are, but I've already forgotten what a Kuatin is. So here we go. Chapter 36. We meet Zev. All right. Chapter 36. We get Zev. And Zev kind of explains that she's their new PR person. And we get no information about her, although the Kuatin are the fish-like things that the Carl saw on the doors of the dungeon. What I never caught, is that she's 2 foot tall. I never realized that. Barely tall enough to reach my knee. I've never even seen fan art about her, clearly, not with other people. Anyway, I have a sticker on my car that's Princess Donut waving, and it says, "Hi, Zev." That's why I was excited to see Zev. They know that they're going to have an interview soon, a different one than Odette, but Odette has a contract with them now so that after every level, they will go to Odette. Also, the fact that Carl was like, yeah, we're just trying to survive. We're not down here to do whatever you want us to do or whatever. But he said, I'm trying to do what you want us to do. I will smile. I will be there for whatever you want me to be there for, but I am just trying to survive. And do not ask more. Do not ask us to give more than what we have. We are not going to fight or survive on your schedule. And the fact that Zev was like, look, we're not stupid. We all know this. However, my whole family gets killed if I don't do this. So we know now that even the people who work for the corporation are not there of their own free will. And then they bonded over watching Gossip Girl. I think that's so funny. I've never seen Gossip Girl either, and then she's like, have you watched Riverdale? Carl's like, no, stop right now. But Zev and Donut can keep talking because they have a chat box open. Anyway, then they open the door and all the grubs fell inside. So now let's finish this week with chapter 37 and find out what's about to happen now. What a wild place to end this. I'm so sorry. When we were ending things, I always planned it based on about the page number that we would be stopping at. And I didn't pay attention to what was going to be happening in the chapters, but what a place to end. Anyway, chapter 37, we find out that all of those little grubby things are everywhere because they've been spawning every time somebody dies, regardless of if there's a body left for them to eat or not. So then we meet up with the Meadowlark group again, and I love so much that they have built a parade float, pretty much a parade of their senior citizen members, and it's so cool. Imani and Chris are pulling them because their strength's the highest. Brandon is kind of working as a front guard, and then Yolanda is a back guard, and I love it so much. And we get a little bit more about Elle, so Amara was making the cards for the Dungeon Crawler TBR game, and she asked me if there was a quote about Elle when she was when we first saw her. And I said the only one I could find was the one where he pushed her into the thing and they were super old. But Donut calling her Abraham Lincoln's grandmother made me laugh out loud. So Donut said, you've been hit on twice now, one by a meth-addled goblin shaman and once by Abraham Lincoln's grandmother. I can't wait to see who you attract next. I think that's so funny, but she said it'll be some sort of bog witch with a beard. Anyway, Zev also jumping in, being like, can you repeat that? But don't cough after you say something sweet. Carl's like, what? Have you been listening to the whole thing? This is not for you. And then no Jack, because one of the old men is peeing on the wall, and we all know bad things are about to happen. So I'm sorry that we're ending on such a about things are about to happen place, but this is all we have left. We're finishing this next week. So if you want to chat about it, come over to the Discord. I have chat channels over there for them all, and we can talk about all the chapters over there. If you just want to talk about it down below, let me know your thoughts down there. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.